The other game Thursday night, Georgia Southern and Old Dominion. Old Dominion, 2-point home favorites, 54 being the total in this game. I mean, Old Dominion has really become a nice little moneymaker here. I even took them against Texas State this past. I did not think they would win the game outright, but they've been a nice little
me too. I took them.
Yep, they won outright. That's a great win for Ricky Ronnie and his team. 24-14, they get the job done over Texas State. They didn't really stop the run. Ismail Mahdi had a really good day running it for Texas State, but McLeod, they made him look average. 2 interceptions. The defense was really, really good. The Colton Joseph at quarterback was solid enough, and I was just surprised how well they ran it. It was Aaron Young and especially Colton Joseph, this quarterback. Man, he ran amok over Texas State here in this game, and his ability to run as a running quarterback, dual threat, really, really gave Texas State a lot of problems in this game. You look at Texas State again, the 2 interceptions, those were big. They played they won the turnover battle, Old Dominion. They were certainly more opportunistic. They're playing really solid. 5-1 against the 4-3 now against the spread this season. Georgia Southern's been pretty good against the number though too, and they're coming off their own very impressive win against JMU, 28-14, winning outright. It's 10-point dogs against JMU. We're starting to see JMU have some issues on the road. JMU has now lost a couple of road games lately where it's like, well, this team on the road's a different animal. It's funny. They absolutely destroyed Coastal at home, and that was sandwiched in between 2 road losses outright as double-digit favorites to ULM and Georgia Southern. So clearly this James Madison team's got some issues lately playing on the road, and we've seen that. It's a really good football game. I know Syracuse-Pitt is your power conference game Thursday night, but don't sleep on this one. These are 2 teams that have made money for their backers, 2 teams playing very well. I think it's a little bit of a tricky game to handicap because you don't want to go. Who's going to be playing at their best? These are teams off huge victories. Georgia Southern against JMU, Old Dominion against Texas State, upset wins, big upset wins. Who's going to be able to hit the reset button, rewire themselves to bring the focus and bring the execution here on a short week after big-time wins like that? That's going to end up being the question. I personally lean Old Dominion, thinking maybe home field's the difference here. But it's hard to bet against either of these teams. They've been putting money in people's pockets all season. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, this one is tough. I kind of looked at the total in this. What both these teams, when they've been at their best, their defense has been a lot better than expected. Last week, JMU with Georgia Southern, I know Nevada not the best offense, but early on in the year, some of these games, even the Marshall game, I thought the defenses all year and the numbers have shown it. And Old Dominion, I went back to it. This is a lone spot when you get to Old Dominion. Even as like a 2-point favorite, they've been dreadful. Well, there's been 1, 3, 3.5. Anytime they've been a favorite, man, they just don't get it done. And I had to go back to them with the 10 points, even though I got blasted taken the week before with Arkansas State against Texas State. But I had to go right back to it, and it was a little bit tough because I think he's improved. But like last game, they ran it well, and he needs to run it. Well, that's Joseph. He just, he's not a guy who throws it 15 to 28, 130 yards, but he had 111 on the ground. I mean, that's basically what you're going to get out of him. But I thought the numbers that kind of showed they were dealing with some stuff was how bad the defense had been for Old Dominion. But the last 2 weeks, it looks really, really good. If this comes to play, how this defense are playing, I like the under. I think this is a little bit too high. Do we get finally?
I think it's a sneaky under. These 2 teams have really improved themselves on the defensive side of the football the last few weeks.
Oh, yeah. The numbers.
They played well defensively, both of them.
Yeah, the numbers just have been there. I mean, and looking at Old Dominion just kind of going through quarterback being out and some tough stretches in those games. And even the numbers, they were dropped down looking at it last week, but I still grabbed them. I mean, they were down to like 109 overall. Just hadn't been great. But they got some good players on the D line. Even Henderson's great linebacker. They have a pretty good defense. And it's starting to show. And for a guy like McLeod, who's been throwing for 300 consistently, it seems like every game, but man, to hold him to like 180 and a couple picks, it was impressive. So at here at 54.5 or so, I like the under.
Colton Joseph reminds me of the guy out in the Pacific Northwest for Washington State, John Mateer.
Yeah,
big lanky white kid. geez, he's got wheels though. He can run. Holy mackerel. That was impressive for Old Dominion, especially both of these teams. Like Old Dominion beats Texas State, one of the better teams in the Sun Belt, and Georgia Southern takes down a James Madison team that beat North Carolina this year and destroyed Coastal the week before. So
I have to say, well, the comeback win, I agree, but like they beat Georgia State, 38-21, but that comeback win, which was crazy with Marshall the last 7 minutes of that game. But then to back it up, that's what I was worried about against James Madison. Definitely been impressive. I worry but the way these teams are playing, I like this under.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. I think these teams have improved defensively to the point where, look, Georgia Southern still plays pretty fast. Old Dominion, not so much. But plus two meetings in a row last year and 2 years ago with these two teams head to head, both of them stayed under the total. So keep that in mind as well.